Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Gentle Parenting Path podcast, hosted by the Wildflower Path. My name is Emma, and if you've met me before, you'll know that I'm a home educator. I'm a mum of three, and I've been talking about home ed and parenting for years now, and it's finally time to try and be there for you more with some practical advice of things that I wish that someone was around to tell me when my kids were small. So today, as the title suggests, from frazzled to calm, what helps me reset in the moment? And this is kind of the answer to a question a friend asked me recently, who was asking me about gentle parenting, and she was like, how are you always so calm? And I was like, you know, in the Hulk movie where Bruce Banner says, they go like, you know, what's your secret? And he's like, I'm always angry. So my secret is that I'm like, and everyone thinks that Bruce Banner doesn't look angry on the outside. He only looks like, he's like, well, I'm angry on the inside. I think my trick to staying calm is that a lot is going on under the surface that my children don't see, because that's my answer. So, okay. I'm going to be honest, I probably am not calm all the time. I think that maybe people see me as calm when I'm not being calm. And what calm looks like for me is not what calm looks like for other people. I wasn't calm this morning, for example. I was tired. The house got really loud really fast. I was not ready to wake up. Not been sleeping well, so just was like, ugh. Someone had spilled milk on the dog's head, and it was sticky and gross and in my face, and she is always ready for life, so she was in my face and her tail was slapping me around the face, and I just sat up and was already like, I've just woken up and I already am done. Kids are coming in, mama, 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 and I'm like, and all I want to tell them is to go away, and sometimes the words I want to use are not gentle at all. But then I did something that helped. It wasn't perfect, but it brought me down enough to shout. And I thought, right, okay, we're going to talk about this. This is what we're going to talk about today. Because staying regulated when you're overwhelmed, overstimulated, or just absolutely knackered, it's a skill, and it doesn't like magically appear overnight. You don't just wake up one day and go, I'm never going to yell again. Because I still yell. I still yell. I'm a yeller. Put my hand up. I'm a yeller. It's not a personality trait. It's something that we practice. Not something we're born with. Like, you don't just magically be able to do that really difficult yoga practice. That yoga pose day, you just woke up one day and like, oh, I can do this really hard pose. Like, where they stand on their head. They took years of practice to get to that point. And this has taken years of practice to get to this point. And I would really like to kind of give you a cheat sheet to get to that point quicker. So today I'm going to walk you through what really helps me reset in the moment, especially when I'm parenting, because let's be honest, our kids don't wait until we've had our morning coffee and completed our morning yoga or journaled or whatever before they start having needs. They just have needs. And if you're the kind of parent who's really trying hard not to shout, not to storm off, not to cry in the bathroom every Tuesday, you're not alone, and you're absolutely in the right place. And I will say, my children are 13, 11 and 8, and I still sometimes cry in the bathroom. So, what dysregulation feels like? Let's talk about that. So let's start here. What does it actually feel like when you're dysregulated? For me, it's not always rage. Sometimes it's this like rising feel of panic in my chest. Sometimes it's like a brain fog, or I just can't think properly. Sometimes it feels like someone has grabbed hold of my brain and given it a violent shake. And sometimes like I am a bit stompy, like I kind of stomp around a bit, like I'm more heavy-footed on the stairs. I might shut a cupboard slightly harder, and I don't even think sometimes I've realised I'm doing it. If you've got younger children, say under 7, your day is probably full of constant noise. Physical touch, maybe you're being licked on the face, at least I was when my kids were that small, and unpredictable chaos. Like, kids are ginormous, little balls of chaos. And if you've got children who are also neurodiverse, or you suspect they are, like that's just going to be a lot, especially if you suspect or you are neurodiverse too, because that's tough. Someone is always climbing on you, talking at you, needing you, and meanwhile your own needs are just, if they're not on pause, they're stuffed right down to the bottom and ignored. So if you're feeling frayed at the edges, that makes complete sense. You're not broken, you're just maxed out. Like, it's a lot. Parenting is a lot, especially those littles when they're under 7. My husband and I call it in the trenches of parenting, because you are literally just trying to survive. Give yourself a break. It's parenting when you're doing it really well is hard. So recognizing that feeling the moment you think, I am gonna lose my poop, that's your moment of power. Not because you're calm yet, because you've caught it. You've gone, no. So what are some real life reset tools when this feeling is happening? What do you do? What do I actually do when I feel myself slipping out of regulation, when I feel frazzled, overstimulated, and like can feel that feeling of creeping up my body? These are the things that work for me. They're not fancy, but they are real. I'm not saying them because they're on a piece of paper or they're in a book. These are things that actually work for me, that I've been using since my children were small, and I still use now when, you know, I've got one who's heading towards adulthood. So the first thing I do is, my love language is physical touch. One of the first things I do is I ask my children for a hug. Sometimes that actually, like, it feels like the last thing I need, but I am aware that when I'm feeling wobbly, they start to feel wobbly, and then the behaviors that might be stressing me out will escalate. It's a co-regulation thing. Sometimes I'll just say, I'm feeling a bit wobbly, can I have a hug please? I might announce on the Alexa and say, Mama needs a cuddle, and usually someone comes running, and usually they need a hug too. That's usually what happens. It's like, actually I was thinking I needed a cuddle as well. It resets both of us. It just, we hug for a couple of minutes. It's not just like a quick squeeze, it's a really long cuddle. Squishy tuddle is what my youngest used to call them. So we have a squishy tuddle, and it just makes me take a minute. Sometimes I might text or call a friend, whether they're parenting or not, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I just need to let it out. I'll do a voice note and be like, this day is just enough. And it kind of just taking it, giving it to someone else whose emotion, it's not their emotions. They can just put it right down and go, oh yeah. That really, really resets me, just knowing that, and it doesn't even matter if the friend reads it, just kind of, I do a voice note and I'm like, blah, 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 and I get it all out, and then we're okay. I pet my dog. It doesn't matter what's going on. My dogs don't judge me, and all they want to do is me to be happy. So they just sit there and they're like, tell us, mama. And I appreciate not everyone has a dog, but cats work. Cuddly toy. Just that action is actually really soothing. And sometimes I've just brushed my hair like for the same action, and it helps. It really, really does. Another one I really like to do is go and say, oh, you know, 1 second, I just have to go and do something, or I need the toilet, and I will go to the bathroom. I will shut the door. I'll splash cold water on my face. I'll run my hands under the tap. I'll put a cold flannel on the back of my neck. This is a legit nervous system tool. Cold water, deep breath. It doesn't fix everything, but it interrupts that signal and allows you to pause and go, hang on a second, how do I want to handle this? Sometimes if I need an excuse to leave the room because they are just going at me and I'm like, I will fake a phone call. I'll be like, oh, so sorry, 1 second, it's the doctors, it's really important. And when my kids were little, they understand that you have to listen to what the doctor says. And I walk out of the room. Oh yeah, great, thanks so much. Okay, yeah, la 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 la, and I'll be talking on the phone. It makes them pause because they're like, oh, what's mama doing? She's doing something different. She's changed it up. You know, they would sometimes follow me around, but then they would realise it was really boring. So I was just like, never did, unless I'm not advocating for like pretending Santa's on the phone or anything like that. I would be pretending I'm talking to the doctor or I'm talking to the dentist. Oh, this is going to be really boring. Let me just pop on CBeebies for you, and which is what my kids used to watch when they were that small. I'll pop on CBeebies, and I'm just going to have this phone call. And sometimes it would actually just ring my husband, and then I'd text and be like, call me, and he would call me, and I'd be like, hi, and he had no idea what was going on. So a quick pause here. I did warn you that this would be the bit where I gave you a little advert about something, and if you're enjoying this episode and want to support more content like it, please stick around for a moment while I tell you about Wildflower Mornings. It's called Wildflower Mornings, and it's something I've made for me that I want to share with you. It's a gentle and intentional way to start your day. No pressure, no 5 a.m. alarms, just a few quiet minutes for you before the world gets loud. Each day gives you a word to hold on to, a short journal prompt, and some soft encouragement to help you feel grounded and present throughout your day. It's not just for mums, it's for any woman who wants to begin her day with more calm, clarity, and connection. You can choose the digital version that you can download yourself, the printed journal from Amazon if you love pen and paper, or you can get the video bundle where I gently talk you through each day's theme, so you can just press play and your day starts softly, even if your brain is still catching up. There's also a private Facebook group where we journal together live once a week, just a quiet, supportive space to show up exactly as you are. And the pre-launch is officially open today. That means 25% off everything, the journal, the videos, the Facebook group, even the lifetime membership. The full program begins on the 1st of September, so you can grab the early bird discount right now, and then 1st of September, it will be delivered. You will get the link to download everything. It is so exciting. You will find all the details linked below, or just send me a message. My email is in the description as well, so if you want to work out which option's right for you and learn a little bit more about it. Wildflower Mornings is here to help you start your day gently, especially on the days that don't feel gentle at all. All right, let's get back into it. So, younger kids, bigger challenges. If you're parenting toddlers or babies, you're not just regulating your emotions, you're managing sensory overload. Someone's screaming, someone's sticky, someone else is trying to put a crayon in a dog's ear. May or may not be a true story. Here are some more tools that helped me most when mine were small. Number 1, walk away safely. If your child is safe, it is okay to step out of the room. Sit on the stairs, close your eyes for 30 seconds, and take 10 big breaths. Your child is safe, they might be upset, but they can be okay for 30 seconds. Gentle parenting is not about being everything to them every single second of the day. It's not about preventing them from being disappointed or upset or cross or anything like that. It's about how you react, not about how the child behaves. And if walking away for 30 seconds and taking some breaths allows you to react in a safe way, then please do that. Use a grounding object. Number 2, use a grounding object. I keep a hairband on my wrist. I still keep hairbands on my wrist. When I'm on the verge of yelling or getting very stressed, I like to give it a flick, fiddle with it with my fingers, just to give myself a little snap. Sometimes a nice scrunchie, like I often have a fluffy scrunchie or a satin scrunchie, and just feeling it in my hands and just taking a moment. Sometimes even then handing it, fiddling with it, showing them, rubbing it on my face, handing it to my child and letting them do the same. Like, sensory seeking behavior is big in our house, it always has been, and it helps me as well. Name what is happening out loud. I'd say, I feel my heart's going really, really quick. My hands, they don't feel good, and I really want to yell. That's my body telling me that I need to just pause and take a break. Even if my kids were very, very young and they didn't understand it at the time, I was telling myself, reparenting myself, like, hey, it's okay. And it brings me down a little notch. I think the things that I want to say to my children, saying them to myself was actually really powerful. Being like, hey, I see you're having some big feelings right now, and that's okay. You're allowed to have big feelings. What I want you to do is just take a breath, because in a minute you're going to calm down and everything's going to be okay. And sometimes just me saying that to myself, just, oh, thank you. My system just went, okay, I hear you, and came back down. My final tip is change the room. If you can, go outside. If not, go into a different room, change the lighting, put on some music, a little bit of a dance party. Doesn't matter what you put on. Metallica, for all I care. Sorry, my dog just cried in the background. A shift in the space creates a shift in energy, and it's magic. It's pure magic. So what do I say instead? One of the most powerful tools I've learned and use this all the time is delaying the moment. If my kids are bombarding me with questions or bombarding me with demands, because it happens, just having some really big feelings themselves, I sometimes find myself freezing or snapping, and I'm like, but my go-to phrase is something like this. I really want to give you a proper answer because this matters to me and it matters to you. So I'm going to take 30 minutes to think about it, and I'll let you know when I've decided. It sounds simple, but it changes everything because I'm modeling boundaries, self-regulation, and care all at once. And it actually gives me breathing space. Sometimes I'm going to say no, and I already know I'm going to say no, but it just gives me time to like psych myself up, to regulate myself and know that their big feelings are coming, and I'm going to have to hold space for that. And it just gives me a little bit. I'll go make myself a cup of tea, replenish myself, have a wee maybe, and it just brings me back down and be like, okay, so this is what's going to happen. And let's be real, sometimes we don't stay calm, we shout. And I said this in the last episode, didn't I? You know, we shout, sometimes we slam a cup down, you know. I remember someone saying, like, if you've never lived in a house where someone's angrily washed dishes, I know exactly what that sounds like. I haven't angrily washed dishes myself, but I know what that feels like. We're not perfect. Sometimes we are dysregulated and we make mistakes. We cry. We swear sometimes. It happens. I've done all of those things, and when that happens, you don't need to start the shame spiral. You need to fix it, and that is the most important thing, is repair. We talked about it last time, that rupture and repair. The repair is the important part. I usually say something like, I'm really sorry I shouted. You didn't deserve that. I was feeling really overwhelmed and I didn't handle it the way I wanted to, but I'm working on it. I'm going to do better next time. That one little moment of honesty can do so much more than perfection ever could. So if you're listening to this on a day when you feel like you failed, or you've shouted, or your brain is smush, made of slime, your nerves are frayed, you're still doing it, you're still showing up, you're still trying. Gentle parenting is not about being calm all of the time. It's about learning to catch yourself, to pause, to come back again. And if nothing else, go splash your face, hug your dog, hug your partner, hug your kid, text someone who won't judge you. You are allowed to need support too. It's okay. If this episode helped you, please share it with a friend, or tag me and tell me your favorite reset tool. Do you use any of those? Do you think any of those are gonna work for you? You want to try? I'd love to hear what works for you. I love hearing from you in the comments. It really makes my day. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I will see you next week for another episode. We're going to be talking about the difference between discipline and punishment, and which one we should be doing as gentle parents. Bye.